Okay, beautiful souls, I'm going to go ahead and start off. We do use sound healing in here, so if you're sensitive to sound, just be mindful of that because I do have a brass bowl that I use. We'll go ahead and get this started. Good evening, beautiful souls, and welcome to the Prophetic Ministry of Light. I am Reverend Jess Intuitive Angel Healer, and I'm honored to begin this evening with you in our sacred community. In this ministry, we blend prophetic insight, angelic presence, and Reiki-based spiritual healing, sound healing, and the wisdom of the four agreements. And I made this a long time ago, and I'm probably going to show this every time just until you guys know exactly who I am. The four agreements are by Don Miguel Ruiz. It's an awesome book. This is where I founded the principles of the church off of. Be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personal. Don't make assumptions, and always do your best. And along with the Reiki principles, which are just for today, I will not worry. Just for today, I will not be angry. Just for today, I will not, just for today, I will be grateful. Just for today, I will do my work honestly. Just for today, I will be kind to every living thing. And I have a mantra I go by: I will not be a host for parasites in my mind. So today we step into the light of tonight with clarity, intention, and divine alignment. So I'm going to start off with the opening prayer. If you can, clear out the energy. If you can, bow your head or close your eyes, whichever one you choose to do. And we're going to go ahead and start off with a prayer. Beloved Source, Divine Creator, and Holy Light, we open this evening in your presence. We invite your guidance, your clarity, and your prophetic wisdom to flow through us. Archangels surround the space with protection and truth. Let every word spoken today be aligned with your purpose and your will. Let every word today be aligned with your will and your purpose that you have placed on this ministry. May this gathering be a blessing to all who encounter it, and may we walk in love, integrity, and divine alignment. And so it is, amen. So let's begin by grounding ourselves today in this beautiful energy of the angels, beautiful souls. Go ahead and do another strike to clear out the energy. And if you can, close your eyes. We're just going to get relaxed and ground ourselves. I want you to close your eyes, soften your shoulders, take a deep breath in, and release. And I'm going to clear out the energy again. Feel the vibration, awaken your spirit, feel the love and light above your head. Feel the archangels drawing near. Allow this Reiki energy to flow gently through your field, clearing and preparing you for the week ahead. Okay, let's take one deep breath in. Now that this energy is open, let's take a moment of sacred stillness. If you're able to, close your eyes once more. I want you to imagine a soft light above your head. It's a soft white light. Just imagine it above your head. This is the light of source, the light of truth, the light of your own divine essence expanding around you. Clearing your field, steadying your breathing, and awakening your intuition for the day ahead. And with each breath, allow that light to move gently through your body from your crown chakra, through your third eye, down through your throat chakra, bringing peace, clarity, and alignment. Feel the presence of the archangels around you, guiding, protecting, and uplifting your spirit. Take one more deep breath in and gently return. We're going to take a short moment of silence together. Let the stillness in your spirit settle into your spirit and prepare you for the message that's ahead in this sermon. And as we return from the silence, I speak this over you. Peace over your mind, light over your heart, strength over your purpose. And may you be aligned, centered, and ready for the greater works. And so it is. Amen. So thank you all for being here, beautiful souls. I'm going to give this quick message of about Jesus as our ascended master. So before we begin today's message, I want to share that in our interfaith tradition, we honor Jesus as an ascended master, a divine teacher who embodied unconditional love and alignment with Source. So with that understanding, let's move into today's teaching. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and get into our prophetic message. And today, the prophetic message I got was two things. One was Highway to Heaven, if you remember that show with Michael Landon from the 80s, and Martin Luther King Jr. So in my vision, Spirit brought to mind this episode that I saw of Highway to Heaven. I looked it up. It's season 1, episode 13. It's called Dust Child. It's about a Vietnam veteran who discovers he has a Asian daughter who he never knew existed. I just saw 1212 as I'm speaking this. That's an angel number for someone. Her presence forces him to confront the prejudice, shame, and fear that he buried a long time ago when he was over in Vietnam. Because he had this child, he didn't know he had a child, and she popped up. And so when he brings her back to America, thinking everything's going to be fine, his son that he has now with his wife, that had no idea about this child either, his son reacts really jealously and with cruelty, and pushing her away so bad, and doing so many mean things, not standing up for her. He breaks her spirit and she ends up running away. But through Jonathan's the angel, his guidance, he talks to the family and he talks to the father especially. The father realizes that he realizes that if he doesn't choose love over fear, he's going to lose his daughter forever. So in the end, he finally steps toward her with compassion, and he calls her his daughter after she's ran away, and he finds her and claims her with love. And the cycle, this breaks the cycle of hurt. The girl who once believed she was dust becomes a child who is seen, valued, and embraced. So what is dust child? Well, it means it's a term they used during and after the Vietnam War to describe Amero-Asian children children who were born to American soldiers and Vietnamese mothers. So many of these children were abandoned, rejected, and left behind, and they were often treated as outcasts, and because they were the reminders of war and the children of dust. That's basically how they got their name. These children were caught between two worlds. These are children no one claimed, children society treated as disposable, and children who carried the dust of a war on their identity. So there's a term. So the episode uses the term to show the deep wound of rejection, shame, and identity loss, and the healing that comes when someone finally says, "You belong to me." The meaning of the Dust Child episode is this: love restores identity. Love gathers the ones who were scattered. Love names the child who thought they had no name. So that goes along with the other vision I had with Dr. Martin Luther King. I had this vision that he was speaking at a press conference. And I also saw a black rose that started wilting. And I was guided to share Martin Luther King's famous works that he wrote. And so while I wrote this, I came across this interesting thing, because just like the Dust Child episode, the same truth was what Dr. King wrote about. That's how they tie together, because the same truth Jesus taught: hate multiplies, love transforms. And while I was looking at how all this tied together for my prophetic message, I came across this Wikipedia article: "Violence begets violence." And I've gotten that quote before, Martin Luther King Jr. quote. The phrase "violence begets violence" or "hate begets hate" means that violent behavior promotes other violent behavior in return. The phrase has been used since the 19th century. Violence begets violence is a concept described in the Gospel of Matthew, verse 26:52. The passage depicts a disciple identified in the Gospel of John as Peter drawing a sword to defend against the arrest of Jesus, but being told, they told him to sheath his weapon, which means put it in his little thing. "Put your sword back in its place," Jesus said to him, "for all who draw the sword will die by the sword." And you've all heard that term before. So then I found this writings from Dr. King. Wrote these lines in Stride Toward Freedom, 1958, and this was his account on the Montgomery bus boycott. In chapter 6, Pilgrimage to Nonviolence, he explains why violence cannot heal the wounds of hatred. The use of violence in our struggle would be both impractical and immoral. To meet hate with retaliatory hate would do nothing but intensify the existence of evil in the universe. Hate begets hate. Violent begets violent. Toughness begets a greater toughness. We must meet the forces of hate with the power of love. Our aim must never be to defeat or humiliate the white man, but to win his friendship and understanding, because we all know that this was going when all that nonsense was and racism was going on in the 1950s, and people weren't even allowed to eat or share. They weren't allowed to eat at counters. It was just, I don't know, I don't go with all that, but it was a very bad time. They couldn't even share the same drinking fountain. And the ultimate weakness of violence is that it's a descending spiral. This is also from The Stride Toward Freedom, 1958. It's the same book, it's different section. The ultimate weakness of violence is that it's a descending spiral, begetting the very thing it seeks to destroy. Instead of diminishing evil, it multiplies it. Through violence, you may murder the liar, but you cannot murder the lie, nor establish the truth. Through violence, you may murder the hater, but you do not murder hate. In fact, violence merely increases hate. Returning violence for violence multiplies violence, adding deeper darkness to a night already devoid of stars. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Dr. King's devotion to nonviolence didn't come from a classroom lesson or something that he studied. It came from the deep place where spirit meets action. He was listening to the teachings of Jesus, the same teachings many of us feel in our own hearts. Love your enemies, bless the ones who hurt you. Don't feed the cycle of harm with more harm. That's soul work. Drop a heart in the chat if you guys are feeling this, because this is definitely, this is pretty deep today, but it's so needed right now, because you can't match energy. That's the biggest thing. You can't match energy. You just got to learn how to get around it. And along his path, King found inspiration in Gandhi, someone who showed him that love isn't just a feeling, it's a force. It can't be practiced, organized. It's a force. It can be practiced, organized, and lived out in the world. And Gandhi helped him understand how to move that heart into action. So together, their influence shaped King's understanding that hate only creates more hate. But love, real love, the kind that asks something of us, has the power to shift the energy of an entire situation. And then I got shown these verses, and we are an interfaith church, but I respect all scriptures from all walks of light. I was shown this one, Matthew 5:4, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. And that's, sometimes it's easier to say than actually do, but it is possible. And here's another one I was shown, Romans 12:21, do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. And this is definitely something I had to learn on my spiritual walk of healing, because I was around a bunch of narcissists that did not follow these scriptures, and they were not peacemakers, they were chaos creators, chaos makers. So I just want you to think with me right now, are you a change maker or are you a peacemaker? And we're going to get to it, but I just want to put that in your thought process for a moment, because I'm going to elaborate on that. I want to get into this sermon though. So just a moment ago, when we did all this grounding, we let the vibrations of the sound settle into our bodies, and you noticed the profound peace that you got when you closed your eyes. And it's easy to find harmony when we close our eyes and block out the world. But the true test of our spiritual journey begins the moment that we open our eyes, step outside those doors, and face a world that is fractured, loud, and deeply divided. Today, we're taking the peace, hope, and resilience we have cultivated internally over these past weeks and transforming it into our greatest superpower, which is radical compassion. And if you're an empath, I'm sure you have radical compassion, and sometimes it's hard to have, but when you start taking this spiritual walk, you understand that it's not that hard. But you have to walk through those wounds first before you can embrace that. So let me be completely honest before we begin. This is hard work, even as a spiritual leader. I catch myself failing at this sometimes. And before my spiritual awakening, I found myself reacting with judgment instead of love. I was taught to shut down my enemies or anyone I felt threatened with my words. I could give a tongue lashing like nobody's business because this is what I was taught to do. I grew up where if you were weak, you didn't survive. No one was going to save you from where I came from. My third tattoo was Marvin the Martian because he was so angry, and he always said, you have made me very, very angry. Very angry indeed. And then he huffed and puffed. And that was the energy that I was taught to embrace, is to be angry and to match energy. I was taught to be aggressive with my words and make my point no matter what. Because again, you were considered weak if you didn't show up and show out. Pride was everything. And when somebody talked to me sideways, I came right back with more energy. My heart was pretty closed in my 20s. I chose armor over empathy. I've been shown through my journey how easily we can fall back into building walls when our comfort feels threatened. I used to match energy, but I learned all it did was feed the fire. The bigger the more energy I put out there, the bigger and brighter it would burn. I had to learn to stop listening and acknowledging those lies. I had to understand that this was a learned behavior from a very angry, grandiose narcissist who projected his own anger to me at such an early age, which was the father figure that I had. It all comes down to fear. The loudest one in the room is usually the scaredest. I just saw 7-Eleven. I learned that demons don't have a conscience and they enjoy taking your emotional energy. There are always going to be more of them than there are of you. And just like internet trolls and rage baiters, they do it just to get a reaction and to get you distracted, so you will get distracted and give up and take it personally. So don't fall into that trap today. Take a moment and step back before you react. I always say to respond and not to react. Because when you react, you've given all your power away to that other person. That was one of the hardest lessons I had to learn. But you have to do the healing or you're going to keep reacting, because you react because it comes from an emotional wound that is open. I had to learn that one too. So honestly, we all do this. It's exhausting to live in a world that feels so polarized right now. Every time we turn on the news, we look at our phones, society trains us to build walls, block people, and see anyone who thinks differently than us as the enemy. We are all tired of division and negativity in the world, though. Yet we accidentally contribute to it as we close our hearts to protect our own comfort. We say we want peace, but we want it on our own terms, surrounded by people who agree with us. But true interfaith spirituality demands higher of us. It asks us to stretch beyond our comfort zones. And back to, are you a peacemaker or are you a change maker? I was shown this, Matthew 5:9, blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. And this goes to my chosen ones out there who, because you need to understand the meaning of the context of this is peacemakers. It refers to individuals who actively work to resolve conflicts, promote reconciliation, and seek harmony rather than simply keeping the peace by avoiding tension. The children of God, this title signifies those who reflect the character and nature of God by pursuing peace. Believers demonstrate that they are acting as his true followers. So that goes to what peacemakers are. Peacemakers focus on restoring relationships and resolving active friction. The goal is healing divisions, stopping conflict, and creating harmony. The method, mediation, active listening, diplomacy, and finding common ground. The environment, they enter spaces of active tension, hostility, or broken communication, just like Martin Luther King Jr. They usually are collaborative, unifying, and ensuring all parties feel heard to build sustainable bridges. Now we got the changemakers, that's the chosen ones. Changemakers are a little rowdy. We disrupt things. Changemakers focus on disrupting the status quo to fix broken systems. Their goal is innovation, progress, and systemic or social transformation. They usually approach it with activism, entrepreneurship, policy reform, and direct action. They target stagnation, inequality, outdated laws, or inefficient systems. And they're usually disruptive and challenging and often pushing against existing powers to force improvement. So the differences between a peacemaker and a changemaker: peacemakers heal what is broken, changemakers build what is new. Peacemakers prioritize harmony, changemakers prioritize progress. Peacemakers resolve interpersonal or political friction. Changemakers tackle structural or systemic issues. Go. Often the most effective movements require both a changemaker to disrupt an unjust system and a peacemaker to help society heal and unite in the aftermath. So we all know who Martin Luther King Jr. is. He was the peacemaker. The changemaker was Rosa Parks. Think of her. Before she was a seasoned investigator for the NAACP. She understood how the system operated. By refusing to give up her seat, she intentionally defied an unjust law to create a test legal case, 3333. Her arrest was deliberate spark needed to launch the boycott. She disrupted the whole daily transit routine of an entire city, forcing a structural crisis that the local government could no longer ignore. So she was the catalyst. Her arrest was the spark needed to launch the boycott. And without Rosa Parks, the Changemaker, breaking the law and disrupting the system, Dr. King, the Peacemaker, would not have had the platform to mobilize a nation toward nonviolent reconciliation. So changemakers, and that's an example, changemakers and peacemakers are both needed. Not everybody's going to, do it, and we can coexist together, but you can meet together and make this beautiful strategy together, because one's needed to disrupt this system. So that's why, like, I'm an indigo child, and some people come out and we want to be silent and meek and loving, but sometimes that's why you were given your mouth, to be rowdy and disrupt things. But I had to go through the healing process myself to understand that I wasn't using my gift in the correct way, because I was instead having a narcissist teach me the wrong way to use it. So you have to learn how to use your words correctly. If you've been given that gift to disrupt things, it's not about just going and making a bunch of chaos. It's about strategically doing it in a way that is going to complement the actions of getting stuff done, not just going in there and making a big bunch of chaos going on and fear. I don't like fear mongering. And that's usually what people use as a form of oppression. So when we look across the great spiritual traditions of our world, we find that compassion is not a passive suggestion, it's a universal spiritual law. Listen to the ancient wisdom of Islam from the Quran, Surah 41:34. Good and evil deeds are not equal. Repel evil with what is better. Then you will see that the one who was once your enemy has become your dearest friend. Radical hospitality is not just politely tolerating someone, it's an active force that has the power to transform an enemy into a friend. The Hindu tradition in the Bhagavad Gita 6, chapter 6, verses 32 echoes this, teaching us that he who sees everywhere the same identity, who sees all beings as centered in the Supreme Spirit, sees the suffering of others as their own. Our shared humanity means another person's pain is ultimately our own pain, because we are one consciousness. When we heal them through compassion, we heal ourselves. We see this same thread woven through Judaism and Christianity in Leviticus 19, verses 34. The stranger who resides with you shall be to you as one of your citizens. You shall love him as yourself, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. We practice service over self because we all know that what it feels like to be an outsider, isolated or misunderstood. And as Buddhism teaches us in the Dhammapada, verse 5, hatred is never appeased by hatred in this world. By non-hatred alone is hatred appeased. This is the law internal. This isn't just ancient poetry, it's a practical blueprint for survival. I want to tell you a story Let me know how this is resonating with you, beautiful souls. Drop a heart in the comment section. Any things that you have been through personally as I speak these words. I'm going to share a little story that was on the news. In May 2015, an armed anti-Islam protest group gathered outside a mosque in Phoenix, Arizona, shouting slurs and holding angry signs. And the protest was organized on Facebook by a former Marine named John Ritzheimer, who encouraged people to bring guns and draw cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad. The event drew counter-protesters as well, many of whom came in peace, offering flowers and messages of unity. So instead of hiding inside or calling the police or shouting back and matching energy, the mosque leadership decided to live outside the sacred text. They chose radical hospitality. And the mosque president walked right out the front doors, and he stepped into the crowd of angry protesters and invited them in to eat dinner with his congregation. One of the most vocal protesters accepted the invitation. He sat down, ate with the community, listened to their stories, and he asked all his hard questions. By the end of the night, he walked outside to his group, put down his protest sign, and told reporters that his heart had completely changed. He realized he had been fighting an imaginary enemy. He became a defender of that very community. The mosque didn't change his mind with an argument or a debate. They changed his life with a plate of food and an open heart. That is the power of service over self. Compassion is not a sentiment. It's a fierce, courageous choice to look at someone who stands against you and say, come inside, you are welcomed here. So that is where a lot of us struggle, is that pride, that anger of, and I have been, there's some people that is almost absolutely unforgivable to let them get away with the things that they did. But I've learned I'm not the judge or the jury, and I keep repeating that to myself, and that's how I end up letting go. I end up letting go of the anger and the hurt, because I know karma will come around, and sometimes it's easier done than said. But I urge you to try to take the high road and not match energy, because you're just going to end up going through a karmic lesson that you didn't even want to go through. So what do we take from this today? How do we anchor our light in our daily lives? I want to challenge every person watching and listening to pick one person in your life this week. It may be a difficult family member, an argumentative coworker, or a neighbor with a political sign on their lawn that makes your stomach turn. Your spiritual homework this week is to perform one quiet act of intentional kindness or radical hospitality for them. And that's the true test of, can you, because violence begets violence. I'm hearing that again. Do it without pointing out your differences, without trying to win an argument, and without expecting a single thing in return. Let us stop waiting for the world to heal its divisions. Let us start healing the divide ourselves right here, one compassionate act at a time. Whew. That energy got, I'm gonna ding my bell. I can feel the energy, because I know it's, when you're spiritual, it's not about being right or wrong or choosing a side. It's about walking in the energy of love. Definitely about walking in the energy of love. Let me see if I can. I want you to type this in the chat. I am breaking the cycle. I choose compassion. I choose a new way. I'll type it with you. I am breaking the cycle. I choose. I choose a new way. All right, so I'm gonna switch up the energy here. Let me know your thoughts, because this was a harder sermon to come across today. It's hitting a very emotional point because I am not only speaking these words, I've had to live them out myself, and that triggered a lot of people in my mind that I've had to give forgiveness to, that at some point didn't feel like they earned forgiveness. I give them forgiveness so I don't have to carry the weight of their things that they have done to me, because I'm not going to keep punishing myself. I've went through the punishment with them. I've learned the lesson. I'm integrating it, and that's why you give forgiveness, not because people deserve it, but because you deserve it. Somebody out there needs to hear that. So I want to speak this blessing of peace to this is a blessing of peace and compassion. So before you guys step back out into the world today, beautiful souls, let us pause and seal this intention with our hearts. May the divine peace we felt in the silence today remain anchored with you. As you leave this sacred space, may you As you leave the sacred space, may you be filled with the courage to choose compassion over comfort and love over division. May your words be a healing balm to those who are hurting, and may your actions be a bridge where others have built walls. Go forth as a true vessel of the prophetic ministry of light, carrying hope, practicing radical hospitality, and healing the broken world around you. Blessed be your journey, blessed be your week, and blessed be the light you carry. Amen. Namaste, and go in peace. And so it is. Amen. As this blessing rests upon you, there's one more gift we must receive before we go. Peace can only stay where heaviness is released. The blessing of peace is not the end, it is the doorway, because peace is not only something we receive, it is something we make room for. So in this moment, I invite you to stay in this sacred stillness as we enter a moment of healing, a moment of letting go, and a moment of freedom. and we move into a time of release, a time of cutting away what no longer serves your highest calling. With the authority of the light and the presence of Archangel Michael, we will now enter a moment of holy separation, cutting the cords that drain, distort, or diminish who God created us to be. So we're going to go ahead and do the Archangel Michael. I keep seeing this as the craziest thing. I'm seeing this like blackness go across it's a shadow, and it's just so weird. I don't know if you guys see that, but, and then it stops. And it's like it's a craziest thing. I don't know, but we don't accept your energy. Whatever that is that's trying to interfere with this, I don't accept it. Because we're going to enter a moment of release and empowerment. So go ahead and close your eyes if you can, or just sit still and repeat after me. As the sun rises, we stand before the Most High God. Archangel Michael, we call you forward with your sword of blue flame that surrounds this digital circle. Michael, we ask you to please cut the cords to depression and anxiety, the not enough mindsets, the voices and actions of the past, and any angry energy, sadness, or general low energy that tries to connect us back to make us who we used to be. Please cut every cord to poverty and anything not aligned with the divine truth, and all the negative ties that are currently holding us back from our divine calling. And so it is. Amen. And that is a symbol of releasing. Because we are not a host for parasites today. I'm going to get in and call in Archangel Chamuel. And now the sword of Michael has severed those heavy cords, beautiful souls. The space within you is open. Let us stand together. Step into the pink ray of Archangel Chamuel and fill that space with the truth of who we are by declaring these I am truths out loud. I am loved by the one who calls me by my name. I am choosing love over fear. I am healed from the wounds that tried to shape me. I am whole even where I once felt broken. I am worthy of belonging, truth, and transformation. I am safe in the flow of divine compassion. I am guided toward the higher way. I am stepping out of the shadows of old stories. I am open to healing, reconciliation, and miracles. I am rising into my calling with courage. I am anchored in eternal hope. I am breaking the cycle and choosing a new path. I am a vessel of divine peace and power. I am walking in the light that heals and restores. I am walking in the Master's light. I am love in motion. I am the greater works in motion. And so it is. Amen. What are your I am truths today, beautiful souls? I invite you to put it in the chat. So if you're watching the replay of this, go ahead and you can still put in the comment section, what is your I am today? And follow that I am. Thank you for being here, beautiful souls. As we close this service, may the light of Source guide your steps this beautiful Sunday night. May Archangel Michael walk beside you. May Archangel Raphael heal you. May Archangel Gabriel speak truth through you. May Archangel Uriel illuminate your path. May Archangel Chamuel fill your heart with unconditional love. May Reiki energy flow through your day. And may the four agreements guide your choices. You are protected, you are guided, you are divine, and you are loved. And so it is. Amen. Do one more thing, and thank you for joining us today at Prophetic Ministry of Light. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and let me know how you resonated with this message, beautiful souls. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your night.